Hello 99 Army, boys and girls, and welcome back to another Storytime video. Today I have a part 2 to the story that I told a couple of weeks ago, and that was me playing organized football. Now, I will say that that was in a Pee-wee league, but it got done at 12. And, it had been a dream of mine for 5 years, and I got to get it done at 12 years old. So, that is just a little bit of a brief mention and recap of what I talked about a couple of weeks ago. So, last week I specifically talked about practice and the types of practices that we would have and just basic stuff like that. And now it is time for actual games. So, I'm telling this story because of the fact that it is football season. College football kicked off last Saturday. The NFL kicks off this Sunday, and I am narrating this just a couple of hours before my Carolina Panthers take the field in Denver against the Denver Broncos for a Super Bowl 50 rematch. Now, before I progress any further, I would just like to say that you kind of have to be a football nerd to understand half the stuff that I'm gonna say in this video, and that I have some Minecraft Turf Wars in the background as the video for you guys. So yes, just as I mentioned in the last video, the head coach said that we would all get an opportunity to play. And he said that in practice a couple of times, and I honestly smiled whenever he said that because I thought, a first-year player like myself normally wouldn't get a starting job. You know, because you don't normally give newbies that are just pickups, you know, that just add depth to your team the starts. But that can be debated. Now, and the fact that he would give every one of us an opportunity to play is another thing that I will praise him for. I praised the coaches for quite a few things last video. And again, this is another thing that I will praise my former coach for. I stood on the sidelines for the one and only exhibition game of the season. We didn't have two, we just had one. If I remember correctly, I think we only had one, but we might have had two. But we didn't have 3 or 4, like the NFL has 4. And when I did do the last story time, it was week 3 of the preseason in the NFL. So, I saw limited action in the first few games after the game was out of reach, and to the point where we couldn't win. Which was rather unfortunate because this wasn't a very good season, which I will get to how well we did by the end of the video. Do not worry, I have it written down in the script. The first game I saw a good amount of time. I played a linebacker slash safety hybrid position. I played such an odd position because I would move up closer like a linebacker if the coaches thought that it would be a run, and I would stay back as a safety if they thought that it would be a pass. I totaled a couple of tackles in the loss. Now, the thing is that linebackers and safeties, I've seen this in the NFL, but safeties can move up and crowd the box where the running back wants to run. And this is what I'm talking about. You're going to have to be kind of a football nerd and know the terminology of football and a whole lot of stuff like that. But yeah, so I was primarily a safety, which I was primarily a safety because the fact that the Pee Wee playbooks, the Pee Wee League playbooks, now that I have a greater understanding of football and how plays look, even if they're not drawn out, then I remember that there was a lot of running, just like a high school playbook, which you don't need to be a football maniac to understand that they're running. But it would always be tosses and sweeps and stuff like that, which is something that I will talk about. I will talk about a toss play in just a couple of minutes. Oh, well, I'm going to talk about it here in just a second. In another game, I was standing on the sidelines until coach told me an offensive play and told me to sub out for a teammate and be receiver, which I thought that since I was going in, little 12-year-old me thought that I was supposed to be the quarterback. Now, it didn't quite happen like that, but I went into the huddle, called the play, and the play turned out to be a running back toss to the short side of the field. Which means, okay, so say you have the hash marks in the middle of the field. And if the ball can get moved over next to the hash marks, the short side would be, well, the short side. I'm pretty sure that you guys can conclude that. I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to explain whenever I'm a huge football nerd. I mean, it is kind of hard for me to explain. But, yeah, so I do not exactly agree with a running back toss to the short side of the field because you cannot exactly get your blockers and your running back cannot turn the corner as often. But, yeah, so luckily this turned out to be the case, which the play would be run on the side that I would be lined up on. And I went into the huddle, called the play, and then I was lined up having the corner across from me, and then it just dawned on me. I thought, oh, this is gonna be run to my side. Oh man. So that's how that was like. I mean, I kind of got a little bit freaked out, if you want to know the truth. The ball was snapped, and I blocked out the corner enough for the running back to turn the corner and run down the sideline for a touchdown. Luckily, I blocked on the shoulder and just kind of pushed him out of the way so that he couldn't get the angle. Instead of having an angle, I pushed him to the immediate side, which luckily, just as I said, I got him by the shoulder and pushed him, which that was not holding, and luckily that was not blocking in the back. So I did not draw a penalty. In another game, I went in as a tight end right next to the left tackle. I wasn't in the game long as I committed a false start and I also gave up 2 sacks and 2 plays. Which a penalty on a play like a false start, play doesn't count. Play, even if there's a penalty, play does not count unless they decline it, which false starts are automatically accepted. Or at least that one was accepted by the opposing coach, even if it wasn't automatically accepted for the Pee Wee rule that they had back in 2011, which was when I was playing. Yeah, one season. So, excuse me. So, yeah, that's how I can give up 2 sacks and have a false start in just 2 plays. Excuse me, my gosh, I don't know what's wrong with me right now. But yeah, so, and then I was subbed out by a frustrated head coach of mine. And don't get me wrong, I totally understand his frustration. I mean, after the first sack, my teammates, the quarterback in the huddle was like, "Hey, who gave up that sack?" And not knowing really anyone, I didn't want to say anything. And, you know. I was liked by my teammates, but as a quarterback, you want to be protected. And as I recall, I didn't really touch the blitzing linebacker, the defensive end. I think it was a linebacker. Might have been a defensive end. I can't remember. The pass rusher. Let me be more broad. I know somebody's not going to like that, but seriously. So, yeah. But I would be frustrated too. I understand my quarterback's frustration. I understand the head coach's frustration. Now, despite the job that the coaches did and the effort we put in, that we as players put in, I jumped the gun on that. The script there. Despite the job that the coaches did and the effort that we players put in, we were winless on the season. I personally think that everyone, including myself, could have done better, but we didn't do terrible by any stretch. We weren't getting blown out every single game. I think we lost a game by like 3 points one time, which sucks because it's still a loss. But yes, guys, I do believe that will do it for this storytime video. And so, until the next storytime video, I will see you all later. Goodbye, guys. Thank you all for watching.